mina ufuneke idispose ke manje mhlambi case ile or kwenza kodwa nje ufuneke idispose then column 6 ke la isayinisa khona abantu ukuthi ubani othathe lento isekwe mhlambi lo full owner ukuthi uyayide yakhe mhlambe istate sibona ngcono si destroy yabhalwa abantu ukuthi ubani othathe lento isekwe mhlambi lo full owner ukuthi uyayisayinela ukuthi ayithathe yakhe mhlambe istate sibona ngcono si destroy yabhalwa funa la ukuthi lento ithathiwe yasiwe endaweni ukuthi ayo destroyer.
Column number 6 has to now deal with the items that was brought to the store, which now has to be disposed of. It could be that the matter has been closed or has been finalized, and such an item must then be disposed of, or perhaps the owner would want to now book it out. However, this is the column in which such an occurrence is recorded.
So incwadi ke njengoba ngichazile kusuka column 1 ya ku 6 as long nje u column 6 engakabhalwa next open like this one, so which kusho ukuthi logo leyo exhibit ikhona is a storeroom ayikanyakazi.
Now pertaining this column number 6, as long as it hasn't been filled, there isn't any signature pertaining a particular exhibit, it means that particular exhibit is still in the storeroom or in the store.
Kungenzeka ukuthi ayikho kulesami storeroom la ngibuya khona kwesami station mhlambe isathathiwe ise Cape Town bayibhukile abantu base Cape Town la kumina isazohlala iopen kanje up until bangitshele laba base Cape Town ukuthi ibuyile what instruction ukuthi manje kufuneka wenzeni ngayo.
It does not necessarily mean that to say that it is in the storeroom, it is in my immediate storeroom or in the safe that I am in charge of. It may so happen that the item or the exhibit may have been booked out. It is in Cape Town. Those people in Cape Town, they will then have to inform us further what needs to happen with that particular exhibit. But on my side, the column will remain unfilled, indicating that it is still within the possession of the SAPS. That's how the book is, sir.
Right. Now, if I can ask you to turn to the second entry there on Exhibit X2 with the serial number 67.
Is there a second entry or the column itself?
Yeah, the first column there of with the serial number 67.
Okay. La phambi kwami ke la kulo exhibit X2 sine sequence number la which is number 67. If we compare uyabona landelana na entry before le kuno 66 67 okusho kona ukuthi ayikho enye entry part nendawo esusiwe.
Now on this column here, this is the column for a sequence number as well. You can see that the previous one or the one above, it's number 66, and this one it's 67. That is indicative of the fact that there isn't any entry that was removed between the two entries.
And then imasehla ke ikune date la kusho ukuthi le exhibit le yangena kwayiphi date okusho ukuthi yangena ngo-2015-08 ngezi 10.
Now there's also an entry there for the date which indicate when was this exhibit booked in, which is then the 10th of August 2015 according to this entry here.
And then kona lapha ke CSC lento ngithi CSC lento yayisafakwa lapha futhi. So kwenziwa ientry futhi ku OP which is OP 928 of of 2015 osho ukuthi cha ngempela le nto le ifakiwe ikona CSC.
Now, this item was also booked into CSC, and there is an OB number that is therefore allocated to that particular item. And in this case, we have got an OB number 928/2/2015. Yes.
And then ke bese kuthi lapha ngenzansi kune 13 number ke manje, that is the number for the exhibit, which is 86/2015.
Now, below that number, the OB number, there is a 13 number, or the SAP 13 number, which is 86/2015.
Yes. Captain, if I can ask you to turn to column number 5.
Yes, yebo.
What is the date there?
Lana date iti ku column number 5. The first entry column number 5 lapha is 2015-02-10, which is item 01 to 3, received by I don't know, I cannot read this name. Yes.
Okay. Yes, the witness indicates that the date there is the 10th of 02/2015, and item 01 to 03 received by, and the witness couldn't read that one.
Okay, no, I've got it right now. This thing happened in 2015, and I was not there 2015.
Yes.
But I can explain what happened.
2015.
So, masingabheka kancane ngalot ukuthi mawungala pa 4.5 njengoba ngichazile ukuthi the CSC commander or the relief commander funeka acknowledge ukuthi we receivile I exhibit. Then ngiyambona la is my colonel now, is Captain Mshwana, who acknowledged at 4.5. Yes. And I can just say yes, 638,449 is service number yakhe and signature yakhe le now I can see. Yes. Kushuthi ngalilanga leli uye u Captain Mshwana wa CSC commander or relief commander on that day when this item le ifakwa lapha.
Now, on that day, Captain Mshwana may have been the one, is actually the one that had received or acknowledged the receipt of this item, and he signed for it. I can see there is also his work number that is also written down there. So on that day, he could have been the relief commander, yes, and that may have signed for it.
And the date, just repeat the date.
And the date is the same date, that's the 2015-02-10.
Yes.
Uthi ke idate yona leyo mhla 10 02/2015.
Now, if I can ask you to then go back to column 1 under that serial number 67 is the date that appears there, correct?
Yes, you 2015. Oh, I know it's not, sir. It's not, sir.
Yes.
The date here is 15/08/10. And then the date here is 2015-02-10.
Right.
I cannot explain this.
So what should be the correct date?
The correct date should be the 10th, the 10th August.
Shothe ama date lawa awafani. Ngale kule ya column
Yes.
Ithi 10 February 2015. Ganti ngapha kule column yokuqala ethi 10 August 2015.
Yes, you've just explained that the date on which the exhibit was received is 10 February 2015. So what should be the correct date there under column 67?
Anna, it should be the same as this one.
Thank you. And just put that on record.
Yes,
What should be the correct date?
The correct date should be the 2015-02-10.
Shuthi ke ngakule column yokuqala la kubhalwe khona ke i10 August 2015. I-date kuyona ke eqondile yi-10 zika February 2015. Hayi i-10 zika August 2015.
Hayi cha.
Yes.
Lokubhalwe la ngeke ngiphikisise.
Yes.
However, whatever that is written here, I cannot dispute it.
Yes, you can proceed, Captain.
And then the next entry, kwaba yilo futhi lolo suku lelanga 2015-02-10, lapho Detective Sergeant Masondo ayibhukela out ukuthi uyayithatha lento ngizochaza ukuthi wayikwenzeke kanjani.
The next entry is that one of the 10th of February 2015. Detective Sergeant Masondo uyena ke owathatha ke lento okanye lengxenye yobufakazi athi uyayikhipha ke manje ngizocacisa ukuthi kwakwenzakalani.
So ama exhibit ngesinye isikhathi uyafika iIO ibopha umuntu is an exhibit.
Now the IO would arrest a person and then bring an exhibit. This is what happens. Let us say there's a firearm that was found in the possession of that person.
Prioritize leyo case uzoyibuka into aphinde ngaso leso sikhathi futhi mayiqeda ukuregister everything ne aphinde ayibuke out futhi ayihambise eballistic.
If he is prioritizing that particular case or that item, he will book the item in, and all the entries would be made pertaining that item that was booked in, and immediately or at the same time he would book it out again, perhaps for ballistics.
Yes.
Is that what happened in this case?
Ayizange isize nje storeroom ubele yagcina CSC yafakwa yabhekwa kwenziwa yonke into. This
item didn't even come to the storeroom. It went to the CSC, and all the recordings pertaining that items were made, and there and then it was then taken or booked out again.
What is this item under column 3? Just put that on record.
Okay. The items but it's a 1x9mm black pistol. It's a CZ75 caliber and iluka. So abantu isizeti sometimes babhala iluka, sometimes babhala isizeti kodwa la lo muntu usibhale wonke amagama because as ngishilo ekuqaleni nathi mawe record exhibit item yonke into ebhalwe kuyona kufanele uyifake la.
Now under that column, the item that was recorded there, it is the 9mm black pistol CZ75 caliber, and then Iluga. Yes. Then he wrote all the details pertaining that particular items. Other people would just write C75 caliber and leave the Luga out.
And also ulapha ku 3.1 a serial number ubhalo ukuthi filed off kusho ukuthi ngalesikhathi eyibheka yena lento ngama naked ngeza ngamehlo ethu la wenyama akayitholanga ilokuza serial number yalesibani.
Now, also the serial number, it is written here, filed off, which means that when he looked with his naked eyes, he couldn't see the serial number on that particular item.
And then enye into futhi exhibit eyafakwa khona la ku together ku nalento le 3.2 kwakuyi 28 times live rounds.
The other thing that was also recorded here or entered here, that is now 3.2, item 3.2, 28 live rounds. Tike kwafakwa ke kwabhala khona lapho ke inhlamvu ezo 28.
Then u3.3 futhi kwa mention ukuthi kwaba khona ne-empty magazine eyayikhona lapho eyayihamba nazo. Why empty? Ngoba uma umthola umuntu nesibhamu uyazihlukanisa inhlamvu uyazikhipha ku magazine. That's why label yona is an empty magazine.
Now further, when we get to item 3 or item 3.3, there was an empty firearm magazine. And why was the magazine empty? When you apprehend or you find a person in possession with a firearm, you have to dismantle or pull out the magazine from the firearm and take out the bullets as well. That is why this magazine is labeled empty.
Yes.
And then, yes.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, you can continue.
Then kwayisiyabhala kahle impela lo baba wayibhala la uMasondo wathi all these items lezi ezingenhla they were sealed in a forensic bag with serial number FSE 385083. This is perfect.
Now this gentleman Masondo then generalized that the items above that have been mentioned above have been sealed with a forensic bag, that has got the serial number FSE
Echo, I think.
385083.
Thank you. Captain, after the explanation that you've given, can we then focus on column 5 that explains as to how this exhibit was dealt with? We can turn to, you've already mentioned that it was booked out by Sergeant Masondo on the 10th of February 2015, immediately after it was booked in. How was it dealt with further?
Njoba ke ngishilo ekuqaleni ukuthi ngayo futhi same date le qeda kuyiregister le exhibit waphinde wayithatha futhi uma.
As I've already indicated that on the very same date that he had booked it in, he booked it out.
And then
Masonto.
on 2015-02-24, which means 14 days after, uDlamini, Constable Dlamini, wayibuyisa item 01203 booked back from ballistic lab Pretoria by Constable Dlamini. Njoba bengishilo ekuqaleni ukuthi
Yeah.
I've brought it to the attention of my colleague, Magas, that before we deal with this evidence, because there's a lot of cut and paste here, we will want to have a view of the original register.
No problem.
Thank you, Magas.
The original register is available. Yes, you may proceed.
I'm not so sure, Magas, because I indicated to him that before we deal with this evidence, now I realize that we will be proceeding to deal with the evidence. Just to compare the originality and the authenticity that is of the information that is contained in these photocopies vis-a-vis what is contained in the original register.
No, fine. Let the witness first give the evidence as
Yes.
he's being led, and then you've got all the rights to peruse the original documents he was referring to, and thereafter he may be recalled, and then you can cross-examine him. Is that not the procedure?
Excuse me, Magas, I couldn't get what you were saying.
Let him give his evidence as he's being led.
Yes.
After he's through, and after you have been accorded the register, the original register, and all those documents from which he is reading from,
Yes.
when adducing the evidence,
Yes.
you study them together with your colleagues. When you are satisfied that you have apprised them, then you will be called back to the stand, and you can cross-examine him.
Thank you. Captain, you can continue.
If I were to just interpret what the captain said earlier, that on the 24th of February 2015, these very items that were referred to, which were put in the forensic bag, were brought back by one Constable Dlamini, and we are referring to items 1 to 3. They were booked back from ballistic.
and then uzonotice lapha futhi ukuthi kune signature kaDlamini ne
And also there is Dlamini's signature as well here.
uye wayibuyisa i-exhibit eyibuyisa ballistic elethe storeroom station.
He is the very person that brought the exhibit from ballistic to the station, SAP 30.
Njoba ngichazile ekuqaleni ukuthi kuyenzeka ukuthi ithathwe wena but uthole ukuthi umuntu oyiPretoria after 5 weeks or a year would ayo-collector kube uyena oyi-collectayo so uyofuna sign.
As I have already indicated that it may have been booked out by myself, and then there is one person that will be going to Pretoria perhaps even after 5 weeks or so, and when they go to Pretoria and upon their return, they will be bringing this item from ballistics.
And then ngaleso sikhathi ke kwakusebenza omunye umuntu akasekho was rest in peace akasekho lo baba lo wayireceive yena wayifake safe.
Now, during that time, there was a different person that was working there. May his soul rest in peace. He is no longer with us. He's the one that had received this item into the safe. Yes.
If I can ask you then to turn over the page. Oh, maybe just before that. the entry below the date 24 February 2015.
Yebo. Ake maqeda la njoba bengishilo ekuqaleni ukuthi even nama instructions from our seniors, branch commanders, angena la ku column 5.
As I've already explained that some instructions from seniors, like your branch commanders, these are generalized here in this column.
Njengoba sibona idate lapha na ithi 2017 November 10 kwaba ne instruction eyafakwa la ku item 3.1 ukuthi lama item lawa ke manje awadliwe istate azinoma forfeit igamel right ngesizulu mathi adliwa istate ahambe futhi ayo destroy, so nje forfeited to the state and to be destroyed.
And then on the 10th of November 2017, there was an instruction as indicated earlier that the superiors would be giving the instructions pertaining these exhibits. 3.1 here, it says that these items were to be forfeited to the state or be confiscated by the state for destruction, or that it be destroyed.
Who gave that instruction?
The instruction was given by the branch commander or Lieutenant Colonel Matahale.
Branch commander Lieutenant Colonel Matahale guyenage owapanage ngaleyo instruction ukuthi leyo ngxenye yobufakazi ke mayolahlwa okanye yo destroy.
Captain, can you then explain the procedure? What is the procedure once that instruction has been given, step by step?
If thina ke manje 13 sithola ke manje ukuthi sekune instruction efana nale ukuthi isibhamu leyo exhibit nje kune exhibit manje ithi forfeit to the state and to be destroyed. Then kune process ke elandelwayo awuveli into uyithathe nje uyifake dustbin.
Now, once we have received that instruction that a particular item should be forfeited to the state and be destroyed, you do not just take it and discard it into the bin or the waste bin.
Especially ke manje mangizoba nje straightforward ukuthi makukhuluma ngesibhamu mina.
Particularly if one has to make mention of the fact that we're talking about a firearm
And the live ammunitions.
and the live ammunition neyinhlamvu ke.
Nenhlamvu so lapho. Kune process ke elandelwayo kunama forms okufuneka ukuthi agcwaliswe.
There is a process that needs to be followed. There are forms that needs to be completed.
What are those forms?
Amaphi lawo ma-form?
Kune form 522B, which is a forfeiture of the firearm.
There's a form called 522B for the forfeiture of the firearm.
And there is a form which is 521F, which is a lost, found, and stolen property.
There's another form called 521F, lost and found item or property.
And then also a ballistic report must be attached there.
Kanti ke ne ballistic report nayo kwamele ke ixhunywe kuzo lezo zinto.
Nayo amakopi lawe SAP 13 ayafuneka.
And these SAP 13 copies are also needed as well.
Kuba nane packing note where a packing note is like a list of schedule lesisebenza emsebenzini. Abanye abantu bezinye indaba bezawuthi ama manifest. That it's a packing note.
There's also the packing note. Other people would call them a manifest, but we call it a packing note. That forms part of that as well.
And lauma packing note ifuneka abe 5 copies.
Those packing notes should be 5 copies of the packing notes.
You just explain what is a packing note?
Packing note into eya createwa la kwethu department.
Now, the packing note is what was created in our own department.
It's like a schedule. Njenge schedule or list njoba ngishilo uthi njengoma uhamba ngeflight bona mawuthenga ithikithi banikhandela imanifest ukuthi obani abantu abakhona la aeroplane nemthwalo.
The same as the schedule or the list. The example I can use is that of a flight. They call it a manifest. That who are these people that are boarding onto that flight and their luggage and the likes.
So nayo ke lethi packing note lezo fike isho serial number izofika isho SAP 13 number
Now,
layer 86.
Our packing note will then contain or have on it the serial number 86 or
the
the
SAP
SAP 13,
And then kube ne type of a firearm,
and as well as the type of firearm hloboluni lwesibhamu
caliber,
and the caliber as well. Saso hlobo nje lo.
noma kunama rounds umangaka ama rounds akhona hamba
And
nalezo
how many live rounds with that particular firearm? Inhlamvu ezongakhi
and the magazine,
naleso sibhamu kanti ke nemagazine and the magazine as well.
and then icolumn yokugcina ile shoyo ke manje the reason yokforfeita if ukuthi isibhamu esibi exhibit iyabhalwa lapha exhibit stroke if kuyisibhamu esi voluntary surrendered uzobhalwa lapha for so wena fanele ukuthi lesibhamu usidestroyayo is it isibhamu esi besi exhibit or isibhamu besi voluntary.
And that last column would give the reason pertaining that particular exhibit. For an example, if this is the firearm that is now voluntarily surrendered to the state, you will put there, it is voluntarily surrendered to the state. If it was a firearm that was an exhibit, you will also indicate in that column that this firearm that needs to be destroyed or forfeited to the state was an exhibit.
And then iform efikayo futhi ukuthi na forfeiture forfeiture form not 522A forfeiture form it's like a list.
Now, the other form that needs to be filled, it is the forfeiture form, not the 522B, but the forfeiture in which there are lists there that you need to.
Leyo ke isebenza ukuthi kuba ne serial number kube ne case number yaleso sibhamu.
There is a serial number that has to be recorded, the case number of that particular firearm,
And then the SAP 13.
and as well as the SAP 13.
And the name of a person, law niggas instruction. And then this date, la niggas instruction.
And the name of the person that is given that instruction, as well as the date in which the instructions were given. Basically, kuyabhalwa ke lo muntu owathola i-instruction kanjalo nosuku anikezwa i-instruction ngayo.
Anikeza ngayo.
Okanye anikeza ngayo instruction.
And then bese kuba khona elinye li-A4 eqeli A3 elingaka, which is a breakdown of the firearms. So lapho ke manje futhi kubuyele emuva ukuthi lesibhamu lesi singene ngelanga lokuthi for a case number so and sicommit yipi crime.
Now, there is also a provision where this particular firearm, the entry pertaining that firearm must also be made. When was it brought in?
Yes, when was it and what charge?
And what charge?
Ishamba ngayipi charge.
And what charge is associated or is attributed to that firearm?
Lama form okugcina engizowasho ngitshela engizowalabula manje lawa owabhalela lapho my lord is that i-packing note ne-schedule list ne-breakdown ne-forfeiture form no-forfeiture list not form lezo zinto lezo zithunyelwa i-provincial.
I guess this is short wrong. All those items or the forms that we have spoken about, the packing note, the forfeiture form,
not forfeiture list,
or the forfeiture list,
the breakdown
the
list,
breakdown list,
and the breakdown list. Breakdown, yes. Packing note, breakdown, forfeiture, and a packing note. So there must be four.
There must be four of them.
Yes.
There must be four. It is the packing note,
Yes.
the forfeiture,
Yes.
the breakdown,
Yes.
the breakdown form.
Yes. Did you manage the packing note?
We started with the packing note.
Okay.
There must be four of them.
As before.
Sure, yes.
Okay. It's a packing note.
As they are being itemized, my lord, packing note,
Is the schedule
the schedule,
and a forfeiture list
forfeiture list,
and the breakdown.
and the breakdown.
Yes. The schedule is just mentioning, you just mentioned the firearms, that all of them is there.
Now, on the schedule, you only mention the firearms as they are.
But you don't
All of
mention or give instruction or what, you just say SAP 13 number, so and so, firearm, what is it?
The likes of give instruction, you don't record that one. You just say SAP 13, these items of the firearms, and then you just record them there.
All those form, provincial head.
All those forms are sent to us by the provincial head.
And mabe wathumela ke lama form yonke ukuthi kuba I process end. Mabe wathumela usazo wa compile wagcwalisa wonke ama firearms. If you've got 100 firearms, wonke lama firearms funeka abe nalawo ama form each.
And when they send such forms, all the firearms needs to be attached to each form, and each form has to be filled. And a compilation needs to be made. Let's say, for an example, there's 100 firearms that we need to work on. Each and every firearm needs to receive such attachments in terms of those forms and properly filled.
And you send them, on those days, remember this is 2015, long time, 2017, bekufuneka nethombe, and you must take pictures of that firearm. You must take 6 pictures of the firearm. Uzithatha kanjani ithombe lezi nduna
Manje ufanele ukuthi uthathe nezithombe ke phezulu kwalokho. Isibhamu ngasinye uthathe ke izithombe ezo6.
Maisibhamu usime kanje uzothatha 1 on the left side, 1 on the right side, 1 on top, 1 underneath, 1 at the back where the handle is, and 1 on the barrel. Let's make 6.
Now that is how 6 is made up. You have to take from all dimensions of the firearm, on the left, on the right, on the top, and beneath the firearm, and as well as the front and the back. So the total of those angles are 6.
So ngalesikhathi isibhamu sihambe uyosidestroya uzobe uphethe ifile enamaphepha amaningi for one firearm.
Now, at the time that you are going to be destroying, you're taking the firearm for destruction, you will be in possession of the file, a bunch of a file there with you for just one firearm.
And ngalesikhathi kukhishwa le instruction in 2017, mina ngoba ngisestation eCleveland, then i-provincial yami ise-Johannesburg Central. Ibhambe ezinga-distractwa lapho beziza la logistic ePretoria.
Now, at the time that I was in Cleveland, and Obanu bese Johannesburg Central,
It's my provincial head.
my provincial head was at the
Is it right now? Is it
provincial in Johannesburg
Yeah.
Central?
But the national logistics where the distraction thathwa yenzelwa khona is la ePretoria logistics.
Now, where the destruction would take place is in Pretoria at the logistic. That is the national office where the destruction takes place.
Yibo abazokhipha ke qala laba instruction ukuthi lungisani ibhamu ekufuneka zidestroy. So that thing leyo nto leyenza ukuthi ungathatha 1 year, 2 years, 3 years before ukuthi leso sibhamu leso esesiku list yakho ukuthi kumele siyo distractwa before sihambe siyo distractwa.
Now, when they issue out the instruction that firearms should be brought for destruction, it comes with, or that implies that that instruction might take 2-3 years to be carried out. Let's say, for an example, it is a firearm that is in my list of firearms. It will take me about 2 to 3 years to can comply with that instruction for a particular firearm to get to be destroyed.
Masuzuhlanganisileke zonke lezi zinto wazisa eprovincial yazisa elogistic yazipheruza yaba happy ukuthi cha ugcwalise yonke into efunekayo ilesikhathi ke still basazokhipha yabo idate ngoba akuyi Cleveland station samsisodwa sikhuluma ngedash ezi140 here in Gauteng ngalelo langa kumele sinikezwe ama date ukuthi nina this West cluster these 5 stations nelanga lokuthi nina ngalelanga lokuthi
there are various stations that
3-4
needs
months again.
There are various stations that needs to comply with the instruction. It is not only Cleveland that is given just that one date. You will find that they are categorized, or they are grouped, that on such and such a date there should be such and such stations that are bringing the firearm. That is, if the provincial office has already approved your processes, and as well as the fact that it needs to be taken to the national logistics. Now, that needs to be taken into consideration, that there are various stations that has to comply with that particular instructions. Then we're talking about another 4 months, about 4 months that we will be dealing with in terms of final compliance with that instruction.
You said how many stations are there in Gauteng?
I'm standing to be corrected. There are 140 Gauteng.
If I'm not mistaken, or based on my knowledge, there's 140.
140.
There's 140 stations in Gauteng.
Yes.
Uthi ngokwazi kwami kuneyiteshi ezingenza 140 khona la eGauteng.
Mangathi nje ngalelanga ke lesibhamu mina ngoba ngiqala ukusenza le office ngo2019. That's why ngazenzele yami list ukuthi okay lezi zimele zihambe kanjani kanje sezilungele nje ukuthi mhla kuphuma instruction ngizoqala ipaperwork yazo.
I made my own list when I started working in 2019 about these firearms that are in my list, that at any given time, if the instruction is issued, then I should at least be in the position to can be able to comply.
If I can ask you to turn to Annexure A of Exhibit X2, can you just identify the document?
Njengoba uzoyibona i-annexure A le ukuthi ithi annexure, okay, annexure mina ngabhala la ukuthi firearms ngathi to be destroyed. That was in 2019.
I have written there, as it is appearing on this Annexure A, firearms to be destroyed.
And mawungabheka lapha, this page start only from 11 up to mawungabheka sequence number 19. Nice SAP 13 number there, which is 86/2015. Case number 9602/2015. It's a CZ 9mm. Then there was nothing here at the time because I didn't have a serial number of a firearm by that time.
As it appears on the entry there, number 19, it says SAP 13 number 86/2015, and the case number is 9602/2015, and the name is CZ 9mm, and under the serial number column, it was blank there.
So ngisheshe ngilungise la ukuthi why manje sekubhalwe kanje ilesikhathi ke isibhamu sesizobhukwa sesisuka ke kumina sisuswa kumina siza la head office. So kwafuneka ngizobhala la ukuthi lesibhamu asisekho ngaphandle kweKheyana sesithathwe i-national head office.
Now, when there was a need for this firearm to be booked out to the national office, I had to therefore journalize in that column that the firearm is no longer under my care.
It's not an objection to say, actually not an objection, just we are a bit lost here with which firearm we're talking about, because we are able to say in column number 1, there are numbers there up to 30. Now we don't know which number specifically.
I said the list you've got here. Oh yes, sorry. Handwriting it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's number 9.
I would like to apologize on that note.
Number 9, sir.
My handwriting was not proper.
19.
It was not legible there. It is actually number 9, not number 19. Number 9.
Sorry, that number 9 relates to what? A firearm.
Yes, ilist yami engazenzela yona la ukuthi ngiziprepare the day selifuneka nje le bhamu ready for destroyed. So it's item number 9.
It does relate with the firearm, my lord. This is the list that I generated myself, so that it must be readily available in case there's an instruction that some of the items that I have in my list should be sent.
Yeah, but to which firearm does it relate to?
This firearm I'm talking about here is Maungapega, the next item, SAP 13 number. Then I mentioned number 13 number. Number 9 law, SAP 13 number is 86/2015.
Now, if you look in that column, that is SAP 13 number, it says 86/2015.
And then Maungapega, the next block there is a case number where fire case number.
And then also the next block would be, or column, would be a case number, which I need to put in the case number there.
And then the next column also ilapenga para konama kama ispamu kanye ne calibra.
And the next column, that is where I wrote the name of the firearm and as well as the caliber of that firearm.
Okay, the entry which is there now, it happened after I was when the firearm hanga put. So we were playing killer because let's pam this business serial number.
Now, the entry there in the last column, it was actually a blank. Nothing was written there because there was no serial number of that firearm.
Yes, the case number, can you just put that on record as well as the make of the firearm?
Case number, it's 96/02/2015.
The case number of this particular firearm, it's 96/02/2015.
And the firearm
Which
is
station?
Cleveland.
It is the Cleveland
Cleveland
station.
SAPS.
Shonjalo ukuthi is station kwaba is station say Cleveland.
And it's a CZ which is a 9mm.
It is a CZ 9mm shonjalo ke hlobo lwesibhamu CZ 9mm.
And if you turn to the third page of Exhibit X3, there under the last column, can you just read that entry?
Ungakwazi ukusifundela yona le entry line.
Layer 2020/07/20.
Is it that one?
No, the very last column. On page 3,
last
yes.
column. Page 3.
Yes. Yes, that's right.
Okay, the last column now. Makwenziwa ilokhuzane lapha ngithi every 3 months abantu laba bangiphethe bayeza bazokwenza inspection.
Now, every 3 months, my seniors would usually come and do the inspection.
To uzobheka nje ukuthi isibhamu asikho isibhamu silahlekile.
Just to check as to whether there isn't any firearm that got lost.
So bathi mabefika kule entry leya lesibhamu lesi SAP 1386.
And then when they got here, they then checked the 86.
And then iba
SAP 1386.
The third page from the beginning. So I just want to assist our colleagues. Thank you,
ngaqhubeka.
Yes, can I proceed?
So icolumn 6 kuthe yona why ibhalwe la ukuthi to head office. Ingalesikhathi ke benza inspection then bangibuza ke mina bathi siphi lesibhamu lesi. Ethi mina lesibhamu lesi sabhukwa uKolonel that time it was a Lieutenant Colonel Mangena wasithatha esisa futhi esibuyisela eballistic for re-examination. So la namanye abajethi that's why lesibhamu singekho la istoreroom sami. So Bazebet, no, you must write here that to head office.
Now, that column says to head office. It was at the time that they came and they inquired about the whereabouts of this firearm with that SAP 13 number. That is when I explained to them that this firearm was booked out by Colonel, he was Colonel then, Colonel Mangena. It was booked for FSL ballistics. And then they indicated to me that then there should be an entry that is made on that column to indicate that the firearm has gone to the head office. It is how it came about that to head office has been written there in that column.
If I can then ask you to turn again on that very same page, column 5, just the entries there and the dates.
It's 2020 of 07 on the 20th.
Usho njalo wethi i-date ithi i-20 zika-July 2020.
Entry ebhaliwe la ithi item 3.1 booked to FSL ballistics for further examination booked by service number so and so is Lieutenant Colonel C Mangena with the cell number.
Kanti ke bese kuyabhalwa lapho ke lento eyabhukwa ukuthi izoya khona laphana e-FSL ngamanye amazwi kuma ballistic ukuze ke iyohlolisiswa okanye iyovivinywa kanti ke iyabhukwa kanye yakhishwa nguye lona uMangena uLieutenant Colonel Mangena wasetshenziswa ke nenombolo yakhe ayisebenzisayo yasemsebenzini yomsebenzi kanti ke nenombolo yomakhalekhukhwini wakhe.
If I can ask you to turn over the page. In the same column, what is the entry there?
And then in 2020 ngawo futhi uJuly lo nge 27 item 3.1 to 3.3 booked back by Lieutenant Colonel Mangena. So nge 27 ngezizulu ukuthi bayibuyi basabuyisa bami ballistics buyiswa uye futhi uColonel Mangena.
Kanti ke kule column esikhuluma ngayo yange iqala ngedate ithi i-27 zika-July 2020 kukhulunywa ke ngo item 3.1 ukuya ku item 3.3 leyo nto yakhishwa nguye lona uMangena okanye yabuyiswa nguye uMangena waze wayisayinela nje khona lapho.
I-entry elandelayo ngalo lelo langa futhi Lieutenant Colonel Mangena ezoyithatha eyibuyisa back kumina kwase ehamba no Colonel by then uColonel BN Gininda owathi ke naye futhi naye mayiqeda nje ukubukwa back yena wayisenza i-entry futhi ku 2020 2020 items 3.1 to 3.2 Colonel Gininda head office book out for case number Fosloras 636 10 2014 wasa starta ke manje futhi naye sibuyisela back ke kuyena kwi safe yakhe manje head office.
On that very day, the 27th of July 2020, the same items that were mentioned above, which is items 3.1 to 3.3, were booked out by Colonel Gininda from the head office. Kanti ke usho njalo ukuthi ngalo lolo suku uGininda weza futhi ke njengoba lesi sibhamu siyalethwa ke namhlanje siphinde futhi uyasikhipha yena ke uColonel Gininda wase head office and the cast number there it says Fosloras 636/10/2014 kwaba yiyo i-cast number yakhona ke yaleyo case ke ebandakanya lesi sibhamu ithi cast Fosloras 636/10/2014.
And from whom did he receive this firearm?
From me.
He received the firearm from me. Ushuti wasthola kimina leso sibhamu.
Now, Captain, in brief, why was this firearm not destroyed as it was meant to be?
Destroyer. Lesi sibhamu njengoba besifanele ukuthi siyodestroy asibhujiswe.
Njengoba bengichazile ekuqaleni ukuthi isibhamu kuyahlala 1 year 2 years stress because kune paperwork eningi okufuneka uyenze nobe clear ngayo.
As I've already explained that one can keep the firearm 2-3 years because of the paperwork that still needs to be done. A lot of paperwork needs to be done before the firearm is destroyed. Njengoba sengishilo ke ukuthi kwafanele ukuthi kube namaphepha amaningi agcweliswayo kanye esisebenza ngawo amayelana naleso sibhamu angokuba leso sibhamu siyolahlwa.
You mentioned that by the time a firearm is destroyed, you'll be having a large file.
Yes, it will be. Yebo kuzoba njalo.
Yes, it will be so. Yes.
When is this file opened?
As mina njoba ngishilo mina ngine yami list ukuthi ngangizenzele yami list ukuthi mhla sekuthiwa lethani ibhamu mina ngiyazi ukuthi iziphi ibhamu ufune ngiyithathe.
As I have already said that I created my own list to be readily available in case of a day in which they will be saying that bring the firearms for distractions, then I will be in the position to can comply.
Ilapho ke i-provincial ezosithumelela wonke amaphepha okumele ukuthi agcwaliswe.
That is where the provincial office will then be sending us all the documents that needs to be filled in pertaining that firearm.
So ngangilinde nje leyo instruction ke ukuthi ifike so ngangishilo ukuthi kuthatha isikhathi ukuthi ifike.
I was then waiting for such an instruction to arrive. And as I've also indicated that it takes time before such instruction comes.
Then ukube yayifikile ke ngalesa sikhathi 3 months or what. My lord ngabe angikho la kuleli bhokisi namhlanje.
If that came within the space of 3 months, I would not, after instruction, I would not be finding myself in this witness box.
Because
that would have been an ash already with that firearm.
So ngenxa yokuthi ke kwaba khona ukuthi kufanele silinde sidelay ukuthi silinde i-provincial isitshela ukuthi now preparani ke le bhamu na i-paperwork need to complete ilapho ke ifile ofuneka uqale uyisebenze ke nje mase kwaphuma i-call-up instruction.
Now, once that call-up instructions have been issued, this is when you start with that filing, compilation of documents.
And kubeka nje kancane wena ngosenkantolo lokuthi la incwadi zami lesibhamu certified off noma sibuya futhi sibuya sisathi asina serial number isibhamu esingena serial number ke sinayo eyayi process futhi okumele sihambe before si destruct.
Now, the recordings that I have pertaining that particular firearm says that the serial number has been filed off. Even when it came back, the firearm was still not having any serial number with it. Now, it means there is a special procedure that needs to be complied with or followed as far as the firearm that does not have the serial number with it.
And what is that procedure?
It's in the procedure.
In National Head Office iyophela ethatha ibhamu ezingena ezifayiliwe ezinga ukuthi i-serial number zange i-retrieve ke ballistic.
Now, the National Office is the office that is responsible for such firearms as those ones whose serial number has been filed off, or that the ballistics
bazophinda futhi nabo bathumele futhi email nekhola futhi thathani ibhamu nizisendaweni eso or ziletheni zonke ibhamu ezingena serial numbers sizokwazi bezokwazi ukuzoziphantsha bazinikeze a new serial number which is a WR number which stands for Weapon Registry.
Now, once the call-up has been issued, it will be there will be instructions that are particular as to where the firearms should be taken to. All of those firearms that do not have the serial number, they will be taken there. And once they are taken into that particular office, then they're going to punch in the serial number. And
WR number,
Eshuktini.
weapon register number.
And they will be given the weapon register number or the WR number.
Abanye bayibiza ZA number, but
Even though others are also saying that it's a ZA number.
ngoba kumele kube ne record yaleso sibhamu ukuthi kwenzekani kuleso sibhamu isike sa exist.
Now, because there should be a record pertaining that firearm that once existed.
And to add on that, why any reason for why lesibhamu leso singakhelwanga out same time lokuzana singa instruction le ingenziwanga same time ukuthi siyo destroy. Any reason ukuthi isibhamu unama civil claims amaningi ukuthi amaphoyisa a destroy ibhamu zabantu umuntu abuya aqhamuka after 6 years athi uzofuna isibhamu sakhe.
Now, another reason why the firearm or that the compliance with the destruction of the firearm was not done immediately, it has to do or it relates with the civil claims or civil suits. The police will be receiving the firearms, instruction would be issued out to say that the firearm should be destroyed, and 6 months or after some time a person comes and he says that he wants his firearm.
So zonke lezo zinto kumele ukuthi sizama ukuzi-avoid ukuthi ngenzeke.
No.
That's why singajaheli ngesibhamu noma instruction engaphuma today awujahi nje kusasa suyasi-destroy isibhamu.
Now, those are the factors or dynamics that we need to consider. Even if you can receive an instruction today for the destruction of the firearm, you don't just up and go and destroy the firearm. You consider all those factors.
Well, I see we didn't take the normal short adjournment. Are we going to
Still
take
going to
it,
be long.
or are we proceeding?
Yeah. Now tell me, are you still going to be long?
No, my lord, I think there's just one or two aspects.
Yeah, let's finalize the evidence of this gentleman so that we can give Mr. Mnisi all those documents. He can even take them from this time and we start tomorrow so that he must have time to peruse them. Is that okay?
As the court pleases. Now, you mentioned that in the file that you compile, there must also be a ballistic report.
Yebo kunjalo.
It is indeed so. The file that I compile must have the, the ballistic report, my lord. I was trying to interpret to the accused persons. The file a ballistic report.
Now, that process began in respect of this firearm, of compiling a file.
Ngasikhathi le case ifinalizwa yalesibhamu le 96 Cleveland edokethini beyingekho ilokuzana ballistic report.
At the time that the case was finalized, that is the case number 96/02/2015 of Cleveland.
Ibingekho ballistic report.
The ballistic report was not in the file.
But the docket yona besifayiliwe storeroom.
The docket had already been filed in the storeroom, though.
Is there an indication of when it was filed?
Ngabe kukhona la kubonisa khona ukuthi yafilwa nini?
Mangikhumbula kahle ngazathi 27/07/2017.
If I remember well, it was filed on the 27th of July, 2017.
So what is the date that you've just mentioned? What is the significance of the date? What happened on the date?
Kwenzakaleni nge 27th July 2017.
Ilapho icase i-1096 la yaba finalize the court le possession of unlicensed firearm yafinalizwa ngayo leyo date leyo.
This is the date in which this case, 9602-2015, was finalized in court.
Now, what would have been the process after it was finalized?
The process was finalized.
Okay, ngizochaza ngokwazi kwami ne angisiyona detective.
Yes.
Look, I'm not a detective, but I will just give an explanation based on my knowledge.
Yes.
If case isiphelile ecourt sebe finalize,
Once the case has been finalized at court,
noma umuntu has been sentenced or has been acquitted,
whether the person has been sentenced or acquitted,
the docket must go iyahamba docket IO ithatha docket iye nayo ku branch commander wayo.
now, O will, subsequent to those proceedings, take that docket to his branch commander,
Because le docket in a exhibit.
because that docket has got an exhibit with it.
And le exhibit ngoba lo muntu se ake sithi umuntu sentenziwe.
The person has already been sentenced,
So kune exhibit.
and in the interim, we do have the exhibit pertinent
And
to
the
that
docket
case.
say finalize, so funeka kwenzeke something ngale exhibit ekhona.
And the docket has already been finalized. Something needs to be done with this exhibit.
Okay, uzohamba aye ku branch commander yakhe afika explain docket masibuye court ukuthi sesiqedile ke ngale case umuntu sentenziwe kune exhibit.
Now, the IO will then proceed to the branch commander and say that we were at the court, the matter has been finalized. However, here is the exhibit. We do have the exhibit that is still outstanding here.
Angeke bakhulumele ka ma branch commander ndoda. But ke kodwa ke kumele bayiperuse futhi docket.
Now, I cannot speak on behalf of the branch commanders. Themselves should peruse the docket.
Bathola ukuthi ikhona yini wonke into iyenziwe konke njengoba ivaliwe nje le docket ukuthi wonke ama steps alandeliwe.
They should-
Manje njengoba kune exhibit ikhona yini ballistic report.
Now, they should ascertain as to whether all the steps have been taken, all the procedures have been met with or complied with, since now the docket has now been closed. And the exhibit as well that is attached to that particular docket, has there been a ballistic report that was compiled or issued?
If a ballistic report ingekho or ikhona kungenzeka ibe khona I ballistic report but ithi khumbula ukuthi le spam lesi sithi filed off uthola ukuthi ballistic ihlulekile ngazo zonke indlela i-etching yabo ibahlulile ukuthi bathole ba retrieve serial number, then I decision ezothathwa lapho ukuthi forfeit to the state and destroy.
Now, let us say that the firearm has been taken in for ballistics and then it comes back. They tried all they could to try and retrieve the serial number, and they could still not retrieve the serial number of that firearm. That firearm should then eventually, or the eventuality of that firearm would be that it should be forfeited to the state and be destroyed.
Njoba ngisho ukuthi kule case ke I-docket yasebenza yaye court yaze yaqeda ingekho ballistic report kwaze kwathathwa finalized yonke into responsible. So ithe mayifika ku branch commander the decision ayithatha u branch commander yokuthi item 3.1 to 3.23 must be forfeited to the state and be destroyed for descent for destruction.
As I have already indicated, that there was no ballistic report that was compiled in this docket pertaining this particular item, particularly item 3.1 to item 3.3. The instruction that then came from the branch commander
Yes.
was that this particular items or this item must be forfeited to the state and be destroyed.
It's fine, the branch commander will come and explain that.
So ke if usebeqedile ukufaka ama instruction leyo then I-IO funeka buyise I-docket to the station ke manje azoyifile ku SAP 6 store. SAP ilapho I-archive yama docket.
Now, once that process has been successfully undertaken, the docket should be taken by the IO from the branch commander and it be filed in the SAP 6 store for archiving.
Omunye ke emsebenzi yami ukuthi mangihleli lapha nje emsebenzini kumele ngiluke ngivisitha wonke lama register ama firearm.
Part of my duties, when I am busy executing my duties, I have to peruse registers such as these ones.
Ukubona ukuthi akhona yini ama entry asenama entry anama instructions
To ascertain,
destroy or hand over or send back to the station.
to ascertain whether there are still some entries that still has some items that needs or that have some instructions for either destroying or the item be sent to a particular office for destruction.
If ekhona njengayo lesikhuluma ngayo ilapho ke ngizoqala khona mina ke ngizenzele ilist yami ngiqale ngithathe wonke lezo zilawuma exhibits ngiwabeke at a certain place ukuthi the dangers ekufuneka ukuthi ngidile ngawo for destruction alapha.
This is where personally I'll be dealing with or that I will be compiling my own list of these items. I will be dealing with each item and then packing them or storing them in a particular place so that those items may be readily available in case there's instructions or the call-up instructions that are made.
Osilungisela in particular place angisho ukuthi siphume storeroom ngiyasipheka nje zingahlangana ipamu zingahlangana lezi ezinye which case are still
City storeroom.
Yes, same storeroom, same safe place. Chazi nje ngizibeka nje on a set zodwa. Those
Yeah.
one of not.
Let me say that in particular that they are put inside of the storeroom together with the firearms, even though I'm going to separate them from other items that are stored in there.
Yes, Colonel Bayat will be testifying in respect of Annexure B, but if we can have a look at Annexure B. What is the instruction that was given in respect of the disposal of the exhibit in this case?
That shall be the first page or the second page. The last one.
The last page.
The last page.
Because they look now.
Yeah, disposal of exhibits. Captain Bade put instruction that forward items 3.1, 3.2, 3.3 for destruction. That is Colonel Bayat.
Kanti ke khona lapho la kuthiwa ke makulahlwe wona okanye zona le ingxenye zobufakazi ama exhibits ubhalile kana Captain Bayat or Colonel Bayat ukuthi makulethwe lezinto okay ziswe ziyolahlwa ke item 3.1 3.2 ne 3.3.
And the date?
The date is 2017-08-18.
Kanti i-date yakhona ke boku i-18 zika August 2017.
Yes, and the last entry there?
The last one.
Yes.
Then on 2017-08-24, ilesikhathi ke idocket ibuya kulo umuntu osesukile lapha njengamanje warrant officer Libipi wa acknowledge ukuthi okay sengibuyile idocket instruction isinikiwe ukuthi kufanele ngenze nale exhibit, then ke now idocket seyingahambi yofilwa ku SAP6.
Now warrant officer Libipi on the 24th of August 2017 enlightened that the document has now returned, and therefore this document has to go and be and the exhibits should be filed.
No.
Be filed.
You've earlier referred to an entry by Lieutenant Colonel Makhala, which appears on page 2 of Exhibit X2, with an entry date of 2017-11/2010.
Yebo. Okwenzeka la ukuthi malibuya idocket nge 24 za
Now,
August.
what happened here is when the docket came back on the 24th of August,
Warrant officer Libipo wayesebenza by then SAP 13.
now during that time, Warrant Officer Lebepe is the one that was working at SAP 13.
Walivala le docket ukuthi yebo kune exhibit ngizoyidisposa as per instruction.
He closed this docket and said that, and considered that there is an exhibit, and I will dispose procedurally.
And then the docket yathathwa ya ku SAP store.
And then the docket was taken into the SAP 13 store.
And then mina mangizothatha over ke ngo 2019
And when I came to take over in 2019,
when I was checking everything, checka yonke into ekhona lapha ezosala ibhekene nami.
now as I was perusing or checking everything that will fall, within the ambit of my responsibilities,
Njengoba ngishilo ukuthi ngangiya encwadini ngibheke ukuthi imaphi ama exhibit nama instruction. Ngangabheki kuphela ibhamu, ngangibheka even nama general exhibits.
now, as I've already indicated that I would go through the registers and check which exhibits do have some instructions. I wasn't particularly checking the firearms. I was also checking the general exhibits as well.
Yes, those ukuthi kufuneke ngenzeni ngizokwazi ukuthi lama instructions ngikwazi ukwa implementa, carried out.
Now, I needed to make sure that all the instructions that were issued out should be carried out as well.
And then mangifika kule ncwadi le ngiyathola ukuthi uKolonel Matakhala kune instruction ayenzile ngo 2017 11 10 nge-10.
And when I get to this one point in particular, I realized that Colonel Matakhala has issued an instruction on the 10th of November 2017.
Le instruction is kumele ukuthi encwadini yami ibhuku leli amakhophi esenza amakhophi ngoba kune instruction and kune space la, which means that this part le firearm is still in the safe, ne? But manje ngalelo langa lelo ngithi na ilokuzana idocket seyivaliwe everything, but akuna entry ye instruction ye athi ngibeke kanje.
Now, there was, when I was busy perusing here, I realized that the docket has been closed, but I don't have my instructions.
Yes.
But there are no instructions that have been issued.
And be withdraw le docket ngale bathola ukuthi yo docket kade yahlala ihlale nge 24 ka August.
Now, when they checked pertaining this document, this docket, we found that the docket has been there, or it's been lying around since the 24th of August, 2017.
But bengekho instruction la encwadini.
However, there was no instruction that was written here in this book.
Ukuze kube ne instruction ngoba le docket ivaliwe. Yes, ku docket ikhona instruction. It's there.
No, we must concede to the fact that there is an instruction on the docket
From the branch commander.
that is from the branch commander.
So, but manje la incwadi yami le register yona ina instruction.
However, my book, the register, does not have the instruction.
So, ukuthatha le docket, we withdraw manje storeroom, docket store.
Then one has to take that docket from the docket store, from the storeroom.
Bayise iye ku branch commander yama detective in my station.
Now, it should be taken to the branch commander of the detectives in my station,
Kanye ne register.
together with that register.
Masifika, if kwenzeka kumina something like this is that ngizombonisa min branch commander, the branch commander of unit, because ama unit awasebenzele station useyifakile instruction, but instruction ayikho la encwadini.
Now, let us say it is myself that is now going to that branch commander. I will say, branch commander, the other branch commander from the unit, which are not working obviously in the station, has already put the instruction on the docket. However, the instruction does not appear on the register or the book.
Naye also lo branch commander wami umnikeza idocket nencwadi.
Even that branch commander of mine, I will hand him the docket and the book.
And then uzoya through now. The first thing first of all, check a ballistic report to good eating at exhibit.
He will also peruse the documents that I have given to him. The first thing that he's going to check is what does the ballistic report say pertaining this exhibit.
If a ballistic report is corner, maybe in serial number was retrieved, the instruction will be different here.
Now, if the ballistic report is there and the serial number has been retrieved, then the instruction will be different.
Why is over differ? Ingoba, isibhamu sesitholakele ukuthi who is the owner of the firearm.
That would be because it would have been found who's the owner of the firearm.
Leso sibhamu ke funeke sibuyele kwi-owner yaso.
Now that-
Kumele si destroy.
Kumele sibuyele or sithi-
Funeke sibuyele kwi-owner, not to be destroyed.
That firearm must go back to the owner and not to be destroyed.
But in particular this one, because it docket langenayi ballistic report, so lesibhamu sahlala nje ukuthi asina serial number akwaziwa usikabani. That's why ke Colonel Matagala ye beno Colonel Bayat beze kwi-conclusion A1 ukuthi this item firearm must be forfeited to the state and be destroyed.
Now, coming to this firearm in particular, because this firearm was there for quite some time, there was no ballistic report, no serial number pertaining to this firearm. Colonel Matagala came to the conclusion that this firearm must then be forfeited to the state and be destroyed.
Because ke labantu bebesebenza la babenza yona lento engenza nami ukucheck amincwadi ukuthi kume kanjani. Bathi ke mabe find out lento lokuthi idocket ivaliwe but incwadi yami yona ina instruction. Bathatha idocket nencwadi baya ku Colonel Matagala ukuthi afake ini instruction. That's why ke kune gap kuma dates.
Now, these colleagues of mine also follow the same steps. They realize that the docket has been closed, yet there are no instructions within the book or the register here. And then that is why
There's a gap.
there's a gap between the dates here.
Yes, part with date upaya to Mayvala on 27/08/18, Mayvala Unitin at the forfeit and destroyed. Then SAP 13 by that time ulibipe as acknowledge ukuthi yes idocket ibuyile kune exhibit which is the 24th. Ngalesikhathi benza ke nje daily inspection ba realize ukuthi docket is there, it's closed, but la there's no instruction. Bathatha ke docket ne register ukuthi Colonel Matagala ayofaka ini instruction encwadini wathina sisebenza nge-instruction ye-docket ukudestroy izinto sisebenza nge-instruction ye-SAP 13 register.
So the date there was when the docket was closed on the 18th of August 2017 by Colonel Bayat, and then Lebepe, that is Warrant Officer Lebepe, signed in receipt of this docket that it was a docket that was closed on the 24th of August 2017. While they were busy working on that, that docket had to be taken together with the register so that
Branch commander.
to the branch commander at the station, that is Matagala. So as there should be the instruction that reads that it be forfeited to the state and be destroyed.
So yiko ke lokho kwenza ukuthi ama dates kube ngazathi ayagejana la.
That is the reason why it appears as though now the dates are actually sequential or not in order.
Ashiyana ngegap.
Yeah, there is-
Ayenzekanga ngelanga eli-1 yonke into.
Yeah, there is a gap in between because all these things did not happen on the same day.
But if kube docket be investigate station sami and iyavalwa branch command ukhona la before the IO iyohambisa iyovala idocket kwe-station uzoza kumina e-ofisini athi ngicela incwadi 13 number so and so ngiyofaka instruction because le docket iyavalwa lokho kwenzeka the very same day.
Now, if everything happens within my station and the IO is indicating that the docket has been closed, he's going to come and say that he needs the SAP 13 number,
Register.
the register, and the number as well. And then on that same day, the procedure will be finalized, or the docket will be closed accordingly.
Yeah, you will notice that the instruction on the docket is the same date as the instruction on the register.
That is, as the witness has indicated, which instruction esedokethini ne-instruction evelela lana kwi-register zenzeke ngosuku olulodwa kanjalo.
And do you perhaps know as to which station was investigating this particular docket?
Uyakwazi ukuthi esiphi station esasiphenya leli cala okanye le docket?
Hayi, ngabe ngiqambamanga ukuzana ndona. I was not around at that time.
I'd be lying. I wasn't around during the time. Uthi bengekho mina ngaleso sikhathi.
Thank you.
Ngeke ngikwazi ukusho ukuthi esiphi station esasebenzana ke nale docket.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you want to add, Captain?
Ngabe khona ukuthiza futhi osafuna ukusho ukuthula enkantolo.
Bengithi ngizamile ukuchaza wonke.
I thought I tried to explain everything.
Thank you, my lord. That is all.
Yeah, so what's your time now?
It's exactly 12 o'clock, my lord.
Hi. Are you available, Colonel, tomorrow?
Yes, my lord, I'll avail myself.
Yeah, because I'm making an order that those documents which you were testifying from, they should be handed over to the defense teams here, so that they must peruse them, read them, and prepare their cross-examination if necessary. I don't want people to say, we were not given enough time. That's why I'm saying we are adjourning now for that exercise. Okay, is that okay? Do you have, no, unless you have another witness.
Yeah, there's another witness.
Yeah,
also.
fine, but it's got nothing to do with this.
A short witness, my lord.
Yeah, fine, that other witness we can entertain. But this witness has to come back tomorrow after the perusal of those documents by the defense teams. Is that okay?
Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord.
Must I go home now and come back tomorrow?
Yeah, you don't want to go home.
No, I want to go. Thank you, my lord.
Okay.
The state calls the next witness is Colonel Bayat. He is not on the witness list, man.
Oh, it's also not on the witness list. Eh?
For a short adjournment before we continue with the next
Okay.
witness.
How long? What's the time? You said?
10 minutes, my lord.
It's 12 o'clock, my lord. It's now 3 minutes past 12.
Let's come back at 12:30.
Thank you, my lord. Thank you.
After having listened and seen the exhibits which were read into the record by Lieutenant Ngwane.
As the court proceeds, my lord, we do from,
Pardon?
on behalf of accused 1 and 2, we do.
What do you want to pursue? Let me understand.
My lord, there are discrepancies with respect to his testimony and the book entry with respect to the timing when he came back onto the scene from those two other scenes, because now, just to put to him that the scene was left unattended for that period of time, and anything could have happened to it, because he didn't return, as he said, at 6 or 7 in the morning. He returned much later at 10:25.
No, but I'm asking you because now we've got documentary evidence in his own hand to say he left at 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. He did this and that and that and that. If it clashes with his evidence, why can't you argue?
Yes, then I can leave it for
Whichever way.
argument. I can leave it for argument. My learned colleagues will speak for themselves. my
Oh,
lord.
yeah. And I'm not persuading you, I'm just saying for me.
No, my lord, we cannot just argue on that, my lord, because the witness has testified, my lord, and from the documents that have been submitted yesterday, when listening to that evidence and what has been testified before, my lord, with my respect, with my case, it appears that I need to cross-examine
On
the
what?
witness.
Fine. On what?
Yes, my lord.
On what?
On the question, remember, my lord, my question was, what are the cases that you went to attend?
Yeah, we saw them.
Yes.
We saw them in the exhibit of the Register of Planning it.
My lord,
As the cases.
my lord, whether we see them or we don't see them, I am still entitled
Why do you shout?
to.
Why
I'm
do you
sorry.
shout?
I'm sorry, my lord.
Why do you shout?
If I speak too loud.
No, you're not speaking too loud, you're shouting.
Oh, my apologies, my lord. My lord, even if it's there on the documents, however, I still need to cross-examine the witness, my lord. That's my request.
We're talking here like civilized individuals. So you want him to be called back?
Yes, my lord.
Mr. Numalo?
Yes, I will appreciate if he is recalled.
Fine. Mr.
Yes.
Mr.
In fact, my lord, there is a discrepancy between the Viva Voce evidence and the documentary evidence, in the sense that he says that he went to attend the business robbery from the scene of this case. But when one looks at the document, he visited that scene at, I think, 10 to 11 before he went to this case. So there are various questions that I would like to pose to him. If the court can allow us he be recalled, I'll appreciate it, my lord. Thank you.
Mr. Misi.
I share the same sentiment.
Okay. Mr. Barui, when can you arrange for Mr. Musiat to come back?
We can check his availability next week sometime.
Yeah, fine, okay.
Yes,
Yeah, but he has to return, okay?
as a crisis.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. The state calls the next witness. It's Captain Charlie. The witness is on the witness list, my lord.
Captain Charlie.
Yes, Captain Charlie.
Okay.
Captain Charlie, he's just outside. My lord, this witness is going to testify in respect of exhibit that has already been handed up. His full names are Bonkinkosi Blessing Mchali. Mchali is M-T-S-H-A-L-I. The witness is going to testify in respect of exhibit X2, which has already been handed up. We have attached an annexure there to exhibit X2 is annexure A and B. We just beg leave to hand up the enlarged copy of exhibit X2, which has already been handed up, together with the two annexures. My colleagues have been finished with the annexures. My lord, we stepping off the scene slightly. We back at exhibit X3.
After having listened and seen the exhibits which were read into the record by Lieutenant Ngwane.
As the court proceeds, my lord, we do on behalf of accused 1 and 2, we do.
What do you want to pursue? Let me understand.
My lord, there are discrepancies with respect to his testimony and the book entry with respect to the timing when he came back onto the scene from those two other scenes, because now, just to put to him that the scene was left unattended for that period of time, and anything could have happened to it, because he didn't return, as he said, at 6 or 7 in the morning. He returned much later at 10:25.
No, but I'm asking you because now we've got documentary evidence in his own hand to say he left at 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. He did this and that and that and that. If it clashes with this evidence, why can't you argue?
Yes, then I can leave it for argument. I can leave it for argument. My other colleagues will speak for themselves now.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not persuading you, I'm just saying for me.
No, my lord, we cannot just argue on that, my lord, because the witness has testified, my lord, and from the documents that have been submitted yesterday, when listening to that evidence and what has been testified before, my lord, with my respect, with my case, it appears that I need to cross-examine the witness.
On what?
Yes, my lord.
On what?
Or on the question, remember, my lord, my question was, what are the cases that you went to attend?
Yeah, we saw them.
Yes.
We saw them in the exhibits of the Register of Planning and
my lord,
the cases.
my lord, whether we see them or we don't see them, I am still entitled
Why do you shout?
to.
Why do you shout?
I'm sorry, my lord.
Why do you shout?
If I speak too loud.
No, you're not speaking too loud. You're shouting.
Oh, my apologies, my lord. My lord, even if it's there on the documents, however, I still need to cross-examine the witness, my lord. That's my request.
We're talking here like civilized individuals. So you want him to be called back?
Yes, my lord.
Mr. Numalo?
Yes, I would appreciate if he is recalled.
Fine. Mr.
Yes, in fact, my lord, there is a discrepancy between the Viva Voce evidence and the documentary evidence, in the sense that he says that he went to attend the business robbery from the scene of this case. But when one looks at the document, he visited that scene at, I think, 10 to 11 before he went to this case. So there are various questions that I would like to pose to him. If the court can allow us he be recalled, I'll appreciate it, my lord. Thank you.
Mr. Mlisky.
I share the same sentiment.
Okay. Mr. Barui, when can you arrange for Mr. Musia to come back?
We can check his availability next week sometime.
Yeah, fine, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but he has to return, okay?
As a crisis.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. The state calls the next witness. It's Captain Charlie. The witness is on the witness list, my lord.
Captain Charlie?
Yes, Captain Charlie.
Okay.
Captain Charlie, he's just outside. My lord, this witness is going to testify in respect of exhibit that has already been handed up. His full names are Bonkinkosi Blessing Mchali. Mchali is M-T-S-H-A-L-I. The witness is going to testify in respect of Exhibit X2, which has already been handed up. We have attached an annexure there to Exhibit X2 is annexure A and B. We just beg leave to hand up the enlarged copy of Exhibit X2, which has already been handed up, together with the two annexures. My colleagues have been finished with the annexures. My lord, we stepping off the scene slightly. We back at exhibit X3.
After having listened and seen the exhibits which were read into the record by Lieutenant Ngwane.
As the court proceeds, my lord, we do from, on behalf of accused 1 and 2, we do.
What do you want to pursue? Let me understand.
My lord, there are discrepancies with respect to his testimony and the book entry with respect to the timing when he came back onto the scene from those two other scenes, because now, just to put to him that the scene was left unattended for that period of time, and anything could have happened to it, because he didn't return, as he said, at 6 or 7 in the morning. He returned much later at 10:25.
No, but I'm asking you because now we've got documentary evidence in his own hand to say he left at 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. He did this and that and that and that. If it clashes with this evidence, why can't you argue?
Yes, then I can leave it for argument. I can leave it for argument. My other colleagues will speak for themselves.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I'm not persuading you, I'm just saying for me.
No, my lord, we cannot just argue on that, my lord, because the witness has testified, my lord, and from the documents that have been submitted yesterday, when listening to that evidence and what has been testified before, my lord, with my respect, with my case, it appears that I need to cross-examine the witness.
On what?
Yes, my lord.
On what?
Or on the question, remember, my lord, my question was, what are the cases that you went to attend?
Yeah, we saw them.
Yes.
We saw them in the exhibit of the Register of Planning and
my lord,
the cases.
my lord, whether we see them or we don't see them, I am still entitled.
Why do you shout?
Why do you shout? I'm sorry, my lord.
Why do you shout?
If I speak too loud.
No, you're not speaking too loud. You're shouting.
Oh, my apologies, my lord. My lord, even if it's there on the documents, however, I still need to cross-examine the witness, my lord. That's my request.
We're talking here like civilized individuals. So you want him to be called back?
Yes, my lord.
Mr. Ngumalo?
Yes, I will appreciate if he is recalled.
Fine, Mr.
In fact, my lord, there's a discrepancy between the Viva Voce evidence and the documentary evidence, in the sense that he says that he went to attend the business robbery from the scene of this case. But when one looks at the document, he visited that scene at, I think, 10 to 11 before he went to this case. So there are various questions that I would like to pose to him. If the court can allow us that he be recalled, I'll appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Mlisi.
I share the same sentiment.
Okay. Mr. Barui, when can you arrange for Mr. Musia to come back?
We can check his availability next week sometime.
Yeah, fine, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but he has to return, okay?
As a crisis.
Yeah, fine.
Thank you. The state calls the next witness. It's Captain Mchali. The witness is on the witness list, my lord.
Captain Mchali?
Yes, Captain Mchali.
Okay.